Alright, I want to do a quick video here about cities and the truth about cities and what their purpose is, why they're created, who created them, and many other topics related to cities that are esoteric and that most people consider crazy because they're just still asleep, they're still plugged into the matrix, or because they're just afraid, they're just cowards and they don't want to face the truth. Because people don't want to face the truth because they don't want their illusions destroyed. And it's easier to fool someone than to convince a person they've been fooled. Those are two universal truths that are applicable in very many situations nowadays in our present age of deceit that we're currently living in. So cities, if you ask your average, freshly graduated out of university kid, or even, high school, or even actually most adults, I'd say 99% of adults, what are cities, they'll give you the whole rhetoric about, oh, well, the agricultural revolution, we had, this machinery that brought in all this extra crops, and so cities were made for people to live in because we didn't need as many people living out in the farm because we had machines. And cities evolved as a way of like trade and commerce and the global community. Blah, blah, blah. They'll give you all this bullshit that they read in university, that they got from secret societies who put out this information. So you have to understand one thing about mass disseminated information. There's always going to be an exoteric version. Exoteric is the obvious. Well, not obvious, but it's like it's pushed on you to believe. It's subconsciously primed in your mind for you to accept that as the worldview, that as your dominant paradigm belief system. So there's the exoteric, and then there's the esoteric. There's two for everything. Okay, when it comes to economics, when it comes to health, when it comes to technology, when it comes to history, when it comes to everything you can think of, there's always going to be an exoteric and an esoteric. And the exoteric is meant for all the dumb fucks who don't want to go deeper or are too cowardly. They're just sheep. And they're blue pill pussies who just want to stay plugged into the matrix. They want to fucking get their paychecks and come home, watch Dancing with the Stars, get drunk, and just live a pointless existence. So you have the story for those fucking cunts, and then you have the esoteric, which is the truth. Okay? And the truth is, it's naturally going to be very, it's going to create a lot of cognitive dissonance in your mind when you first hear it. And it's going to be something that you're going to have to really fight with, to come to grip with, because it's going to go against how you were programmed, and you have been programmed since birth, since school. School is the first part of the whole programming indoctrination scheme. It's a very important part, and you know that humanity's just going darker and darker into ignorance when they're lowering the age for kids to enter into school. I think it's like 3 now in Canada. It's crazy. Like they're getting us younger and younger and younger. But anyways, I digress. But so the exoteric purpose of cities is that yes, they emerged because we have all this extra food, and now we can have time for art and for recreation, and we have a few farmers and that's all we need. The reality is the elite created cities as sacrificial grounds. That's what they are. They're camps. They're prisons. If you read into uh, why they design cities the way they design them, they often will call it a hive. They love using the analogy of a hive because beehives have the queen, they have royalty, and then they have guards and they have workers, and there's like this hierarchy, and that's how they see the world. The psychopaths that control right now, they see everything in terms of authority and hierarchy. And um, okay, I'm not going to go that deep, but so They created cities to essentially kill us and control us, because right now they think there are too many people. They're they're control freaks, and they're afraid of anarchy. They're they're scared shitless of an idea of a scenario where they can't control every little thing. They have to fucking be in control, or they just go crazy. That's how mentally ill they are. They have to be in control all the time. If they're not in control, if they can't control every little variable, it drives them crazy because they're mentally ill. They're psychotic. I like to drive that home, folks. They're not elite. They're not gifted. They're sick in the head. They're not right in the head. They're fucked in the head. Okay? And they lack compassion. It's not that they choose to not be compassionate, it's that they cannot be. They cannot be compassionate. It's like someone who you cut off their arm. They can't feel their arm because it's fucking not there. The arm's not there. It's the same. Okay, they're lacking whatever it is in the mind, the mammalian limbic system that creates affection and nurturing. It's not there. It's broken. Okay, that's what people need to understand. And so they've created cities as death camps. That's what cities are. Cities exist to destroy people, to destroy humans, to suck away your life, suck away your energy, to keep you stuck in a prison, your mind stuck in a prison, to keep you entertained. Entertainment is a huge part of cities because people, especially the people who have strong intuition and know something's not quite right here, um, they're not going to know what to do. So to hide that inner turmoil that they're experiencing, they just go to their distractions rather than face it and confront it and say, okay, something's wrong here. How can we change this? Oh, never mind. Fuck that. I'm just gonna watch TV. I'm just gonna play video games. I'm just gonna go out to the rippers. I'm just gonna fucking get wasted. Whatever. Distractions and entertainment are a huge part of cities, and I mean, this is pretty obvious to even all the fucking sheep out there that are still asleep. So cities were also designed. This is next level shit right here, but I was just listening to a Michael Tazarian lecture on ley lines. Ley lines are geographical lines along the earth that emit certain energies and frequencies. And in the ancient times, the ancient civilizations built pyramids and they built certain structures to align with these ley lines. And these peoples were so fucking smart. They are so much more intelligent than we are today. And they knew about how the earth had its own energetic system and its own vibration that it goes to, just like we do. And they could tap into it by using geometry. Okay, geometry affects, form affects matter, you know, absolutely 100%. And so they would make certain structures and certain areas to amplify energies. And you have to understand too, the psychopaths are very ritualistic. They love rituals. They're all about the rituals. And it's not just about location, it's also about the timing. So, a lot of events that happened, recently, the bombings that happened in Holland, that happened on March 22nd, 322. I mean, anyone who's got a common shred of common sense will know that that's 322 Skull and Bones. I mean, all this shit is planned. People don't see it, but they even create cities in certain areas so that the energy of the earth is amplified so that they get certain effects. And if you don't believe this, look up CERN, look up HARP, look up Project Bluebeam, look up all these projects that use frequency and wave energy to manipulate mental states, to achieve, to even change the weather, to bring about waves of fear to control people. They do this. They use technology to keep people in fear. That's what they want. They want everyone afraid. Everyone's afraid. We're not going to stand up. We're not going to step up. We're not going to speak up. We're going to keep our mouths shut and just go with the status quo. That's what they want. So cities are not places where you go to and you're like, yeah, I'm going to go to the city and I'm going to live a great life. Chances are, if you're a healthy human being, the city will destroy you. And, you know, you're seeing less and less people owning their own land, less and less farmers, and that's what the elite want. Or sorry, not the elite, the psychopaths want. They want us all crammed in the city. And that's why you're seeing, companies, agro companies buy up all the lands and turn it into industrial, cash crop farming processes. There's very few family farms left with integrity. Most of them get bought out. And, if people don't have their own land, they can't live according to their own means, they can't provide for themselves. They become dependent on the city, on government. And again, that's what these psychopaths want. They want to dumb us down more and more and more until we're basically most people are already robots, but until we're like I don't even want to see what the average person is in like 50 years from now. It's going to be fucked up with all the vaccines that are going into kids now and like the increased GMO food and everything. They're basically going to be walking zombie robots, pretty much serfs. That's what they call them, slaves, complete slaves. Like, I teach grade 5 kids, and I can um, still talk to them and still get some semblance of original thought out of them by asking them certain questions, by prompting them to think outside the box. But I'm pretty sure in 50 years' time, the kids that are being churned out, they will never question the authority mainstream. They'll never question it. Never. That's what they want. They want people to be like 100% trusting in government, in scientism, which is the new religion. People say they're atheist. Most people, instead of priests preaching at the pulpit, your priest is the scientist in the lab coat and who serves government, who gets their money from corporations, who have their own interests. So, the results of all those findings, you think that they're coming out of truth? Are you fucking kidding me? No, no, no. Those findings are coming out of what does government want us to produce? What kind of results do they want us to produce based on what funding and what sources of revenue we're bringing in? Who's sponsoring us for this research? The Meat and Dairy Board is sponsoring us. Okay, so meat and dairy is great for calcium. It's great for your health. That's where studies come from. Okay, that's where results come from nowadays. And if you don't think this, I don't know what to say. I guess you're still really naive and gullible. And yeah, I'm not going to say that 100% of scientists are like this, but I'm going to say the vast majority are. The vast majority are. Okay, the vast majority, the results are all about money. Money. Not about truth. Truth fucking gets put at the very back. The front seat is money. Okay? That's the fucking truth. So, cities are not places where anyone should strive to live long term. I know myself, my long term goal is to get out of the city, to get somewhere in a community where the lifestyle is sustainable, where anarchy is embraced, where people have morality, where people have hearts, and people live by a code, and people believe in something more than themselves. So that should be everyone's goal. I mean, most people are stuck in the city because um, it's fucking hard to get off the system when you've been dependent on it for so long. But the message of this video is cities were made to kill us. Okay? That's why they're made. If you don't understand this, you're living in La La Land. You're living in Candyland, and it's time to wake the fuck up.